Alright, welcome everyone. This is Ryo Azuro, the Wannabe Hero, and I want to do a little deck profile. And for this, I'm going to talk about my favorite deck type, which is Lightsworn. So, let's start off with the basics. There's many different ways to win in Yu-Gi-Oh! By spelling Final, drawing Exodia, reducing your opponent's life points to 0, making them deck out. So, the main power of this deck is going to be using your cards to reduce your opponent's life points to 0. Alright, and we'll take a look at the monsters, then spells, then traps, then the extra deck, and then we'll go for like tips and tricks. So the first one, obviously we will start off with Celestia. What it is you tribute a Lightsworn monster. When you tribute a Lightsworn monster, you send the top 4 cards from your deck to the graveyard, and you can target up to 2 cards your opponent destroys. This is great for back row, so your magic traps for your opponent, or for monsters that they have that can't block the effect, or if they don't have something like Effect Veiler to stop it. I only use one in here because it's situational, and you may not always have the ability to tribute. And you don't want to have a lot of high-level stuff because, as you see, I'm already running a couple of high-level ones. So only use one. I'd recommend 1 or 2, depending on the build. Next, we have Inrin, the Lightsworn Monk. Her ability is to attack a face-down monster, and before flipping it, goes to the top of the deck. It gets shuffled. This is a great thing to stop cards such as Blastsphere, Man-Eater Bug, and a lot of other cards that have flip effects. So I run one because of the Judgment Dragon having to have different names in the graveyard, and one works well and has decent attack at 1600. Next we go to Phalis, the Lightsworn Archer. It can't be normal summon, so it's almost like a wolf, Lightsworn Beast, but when it comes out onto the field, you can tribute this card to target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So that's a good ability to stop them from having like a powerful monster and you get to destroy it. You have Garoth, Lightsworn Warrior. Sort of a beat stick. You really don't use his other effect of having, as other Lightsworns mill, you have a chance to draw cards. So mainly it's just a beat stick, so that's why you only have one. Honest, of course, is if you are attacking a monster, or if you're getting attacked, you can increase this attack power by the monster, your opponent's monster, so you can deal damage to them and save one of your monsters, maybe for a tribute, like for Celestia. So it's a good card to have. Jane, the Lightsworn Paladin. It's really good. 1800 is decent attack, and then if you are in the damage step, if you're attacking, it goes up to 2100. So good attacker right there. Judgment Dragon is your bread and butter. My bad. So you have to have 4 different Lightsworn monsters. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different types. So I always have an option to start sacrificing the monsters, and I have different opportunities to do that. So that's why you want to have between, I'd say, 8 and 10 different Lightsworn. So I'd go with that one. A card that I use, this is one like a side card you can use. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I just want to do main cards. Lumina, best one, discard 1 card. Special summon level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster. So you can summon another Lumina to do, exceed summon. You can summon something like Lila and then put her into defense mode to destroy an MT. You can summon something like, Raiden. You have different options what you can do, but Lumina is your summoner. Lila is your MT destroyer. It takes 2 turns, but you're mainly using it to like summon, destroy back row, and if that leaves your opponent open, maybe something, summon something like Judgment Dragon, so you have the ability to, not get caught in something like Bottomless Trap Hole or Solemn Warning or Solemn Judgment, stuff like that. You have Minerva, and she's pretty cool. You know, you have ability to get a dragon type, so you have an ability to have, you know, more different types. You have a possible chance to get Judgment Dragon. So, plus her, you know, normal summon, I think you can mill 2. Yeah, you can mill 2. So, good effect. I throw in Necrogardener because if you're sending cards to the graveyard, which is mainly what you're doing with Lightsworn, this card, if it's in the graveyard, it can block 1 attack pretty much. So you don't get damaged. Along with Plague Spreader. Plague Spreader can be special summoned by sending 1 card from your hand to the top of the deck. So it allows you to go into synchro summons. And that's a great thing to do. Raiden, you can send the top 2 cards. If any of them are Lightsworn, you get another 200 attack, which is good. You know, always great to mill, especially if you can get something like, you know, Phalis, or you can get Wolf, so you can special summon them. So, great card to have. Ryo, MT or Monster Destroyer, great card to have. And it mills 3. You have Wolf, can't be summoned, but mainly you'll be using him for like solar recharge and stuff like that. So just go back real quick to Diabolos. If you have different light monsters, it says 5 with different names, and I have a ton. This just gives me out another beater just in case. And I can banish light to, you know, to target one card, my opponent controls. So again, another chance to destroy a magic or trap card. Now, the spell cards that you'll definitely use 3 solar recharges, which is if it has a Lightsworn in its name, you discard it, and send the, you discard it, draw 2 cards, and send the top 2. So mainly you'll get rid of stuff like Wolf if you can't use it, or if you can't summon yet, Phalis, you know, you'll get rid of Phalis because you can't normal summon it, or Celestia. But it also helps adding those cards to the graveyard, so in case you get a chance to get Judgment Dragon. Raigeki, of course, is easy. Destroy all of your opponent's monsters. MST, because you want to destroy, you know, magic and trap cards. Monster Reincarnation, this gives you a chance to get rid of cards you don't want to get Judgment Dragon in case it gets milled to the graveyard. So it's a good one. Gold Sark is also to like, if it's great in the beginning of the game, it's really bad late game, but you can use this as one of the cards to, you know, send to the graveyard if you need to, like, grab a Judgment from your hand with Monster Reincarnation. Foolish Burial, what if you have, you know, 3 different Lightsworns and you have Judgment Dragon in your hand and you can't do anything? This puts a 4th one in there to allow you to go ham on your opponent. Dark Hole, of course, in case you don't get the cards and you can at least destroy everything. Charges the Light Brigade, you send the top 3 cards, and you add 1 level 4 or lower. So this is great if you have, like, man, I have Wolf in my hand, but I can't get rid of him. Well, use Charge, grab Lumina, you can discard Wolf, and as long as they're another Lightsworn, special summon Wolf. So you have a 2100 beater. Then Book of Moon, just to put opponent's card face down in defense mode. Now, I don't really use traps, but as you know, there are other cards you can use for traps, like Glorious Illusion, Lightsworn Barrier, Light Spiral. I find all these cards to be irrelevant. The only one I would use is the one to grab light monsters. I don't know if it has it here. Oh yeah, Beckoning Light. That may be the only card I would use, you know, because you discard your whole hand and you can grab light monsters from the graveyard depending on how many cards you send, so you could get 3 Judgment Dragons. I would use that as a side deck material, honestly, if I did. But that's about the only card I would use for traps. Maybe if you want to do Bottomless Trap Hole, maybe Call the Haunted, but not really too many trap cards because you're going to be milling a lot, and it's just not useful to have a lot of trap cards. Spell cards you can, you know, kind of rehash and use. Why I don't use any of the other Lightsworn monsters like Ryan, you know, Rena, Shire, Genis, you know, the dragon, it's because they're not that great, especially Arcus. He used to be pretty good, but when the rules in the game changed a bit, he wasn't as useful. Even the spell cards I would not use. because mainly you want to damage your opponent and you want to get as close to the 40 cards. I have 41 just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. As you see, I have 29 monsters and 12 spells. So, I'm trying to use my cards to mill and get them in the graveyard as quickly so I can get Judgment Dragon and start going off on my opponent. Extra cards, obviously, since you have Plague Spreader, you can go to a bunch of different levels. It's a little bit harder now because you don't have Snatch Steal, but I would do Armatus, Armory Arm, Black Rose Dragon to blow up the field, Crimson Blader, it's not too bad, Goyo Guardian, steal your opponent's monster, best 6-star there is. Michael, the Lightsworn, just gives you another Lightsworn name and also different effects. Star Eater, in case you can't get that, go ham. Stardust Dragon, Negator. And of course, you have a chance to somehow, you might get your Exceed summons. So, Castell, obviously, send the opponent's monster to the grave. This one is to either add cards to your hand or send stuff to the graveyard. Dante, Beat Stick. Gaga Cowboy, hey, if your opponent's down to 800 life points, you could end them. Just a Beat Stick with Gem Knight Pearl. Honor Arc is to suck up a monster, and Utopia is just if you need some defense. Inside, I only have a Soul Charge. That's okay, but it's hard because you can't attack that turn, so you lose. You have MST, Dark Hole, Celestia, Wolf. So again, other side deck cards I would suggest would be, of course, the Beckoning Light for a trap. Maybe one or two other monsters. Maybe if you want to go more honest. If I want to get rid of the Light Rays, there's a few other Light Ray monsters that might be useful to you to choose from. But overall, the main goal is to go ham on your opponent as quickly as possible to get Judgment Dragon. Attack your opponent, destroy them. The weaknesses to the deck is obviously the setup. If you have a bad hand of nothing but like monsters that can't mill, or if you summon and your opponent immediately counters, it's really hard to get going because your goal is to get as many cards to the graveyard as possible so you can start going and using effects like Lumina to summon more, try and defend yourself a little bit more with Necrogardna, use Exceed summons, go Synchro summons, try and stall until you can get your cards. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you get really bad hands. Sometimes you get all spell cards like 3 Solar Recharges and no monster to mill. Or you get that and then, Solar Recharge, but you have Light Ray and Judgment Dragon where you can't use the effect. So again, hopefully this was informative. Hopefully you've enjoyed the Lightsworn build. Overall, I'd say it's really destructive. It's really good in this game, even with the April ban list for 2016. Hopefully you can find all the cards to use against your opponent. It's not that hard to really get a lot of these, and I think it's one of the better decks that you can use for beginners to advanced players, and has many different options for you. You can change it up a bit and make it, fit your playstyle. So hopefully if you enjoyed this, and if you like this, like and subscribe, and I'll come back next time if you like this video. Apparently you like Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you like this, I will do another deck profile, probably for another deck that I like. Maybe a newer one that got popular because of the DLC. Probably Cosmos, because I'm starting to try that. So again, Ryo Azuro, the Wannabe Hero. Until next time, peace out.